I did the Insane Trilogy. I platinumed everything. I did Crash Bash to 100%. You think this game's gonna beat me? Man, we got a new Crash game yet? How about Crash Bandicoot 1? Nah. How about Crash Bandicoot 2? Wait. How about Crash Bandicoot Warped? Your favorite. I feel like we've done this before. 4! That's it. Crash Bandicoot 4. Aww. It's about time. Wait, what?
No, really, it's about time. Wait, didn't they do that already? But this time it's different. Ha 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 ha. I'm just glad we got a new Crash Bandicoot game. And what a game it is. Crash Bandicoot 4 is a game that can be defined as incredible casual or a nightmare to complete. Toys for Bobs has taken the realms this time, not Vicarious Visions, which I was surprised considering how well the Insane Trilogy did. Toys for Bobs did do the Spyro Reignited Trilogy though, so it will be interesting to see how they handle Crash here. Straight off the bat, we've got some new designs here. Crash and Coco have been touched up, but given a very nice cartoon vibe, while feeling like how a modern Crash game should look like. I will admit it threw me off at first, because I loved the Insane Trilogy look. I was surprised as to why they got such a drastic change. But you know what? I gave it some time, and I've definitely warmed up to them now. These characters pop, and the whole world pops with them. Incredibly vibrant, every colour going on here. Crash 4 is a real treat for the eyes, and I love how animated the characters are here. Everyone has so much bounce and personality to them that I just want to hang out with Crash and Coco, god damn it. Before we go any further, I should probably talk about the story. Just in case I'm going to put a spoiler warning right here, just skip to this part of the video. Crash Bandicoot 4 takes place after the true ending of Crash Bandicoot Warped, where Cortex, Entropy and Uka Uka are all trapped in the distant past. Well, it seems enough time has passed as a fully crowned Cortex and Entropy are trying to find a way back to the current timeline. After countless attempts, Uka Uka was finally able to create a rift in time, allowing them to escape. Except Uka Uka, he's kinda dead. Meanwhile, Crash is sleeping but gets woken up by Aku Aku as he senses something is wrong. After exploring the island, Crash discovers a mask by the name of Lani Loli, one of the quantum masks who essentially try to protect time and fix any mishaps. Because of Entropy, time rifts have been popping up all over the place, which caused the mask to awaken. With the help of Lani Loli, Crash and Coco travel around using rifts to track down the other masks, so that they can basically fix time and stop Entropy from trying to take over all dimensions. All the while returning Villain's engine, and even Embryo, which I definitely didn't expect. I wonder what happened to Tiny. Perhaps he's still stuck in Rome. Tragic. You know, I can't tell if Embryo is our enemy or if he's just lonely.
Sometimes I think you're my only friend. And then I realize... No, that's right.
Tragic. Cortex tries to stop you, but is pretty much done at this point, while Entropy has other ideas, using his generator to not just control dimensions, but to just straight up reset the beginning of time? Well shit. Cortex decides f*** Entropy, and joins the heroes in stopping him. And here to also help is... Tana? Damn! Whoa, now here's a design that drew up some major controversy. People either hate her, or love her for big reasons, I'm sure. It's okay guys, she's from another dimension, caused by the time rifts, and I must say, as a character, I much prefer her in this game. I do prefer the original Tana design personally, but at least this Tana actually does stuff. She's pretty much the hero in her version of the world, and decides to help Crash and Coco throughout their journey. But she's not the only one. Dingodile has given up his life of crime to open up his own restaurant. Just so happens he just gets dragged into this mess against his own will. His restaurant gets straight up nuked. I feel bad for this guy, he just wants to go home. Entropy reveals he has an ally. It's a female Entropy from another timeline and... Oh my,
No, God!
I feel like this has been done before, but less Does this count as making out with yourself? I don't even. Turns out the female entropy is from Tawna's timeline, and she tried to admit she murdered that was Crash and Coco, and it's why you see Tawna secretly helping to stop this from happening again. You know, for a Crash game, this pretty dark. After a meme-inducing trip, we take on the entropies and a very underwhelming boss. We end this freaky Rule 63 situation, the mask fix time, and all is saved. You'd think the entropies would have been a bigger deal, and they don't come back. Crash 4 doesn't go into entropy much, or female entropy. It's a real shame. Doesn't matter though, because surprise, in a turn of event, Cortex was the real villain, because no one saw that one coming. He travels back to where it all started, Crash Bandicoot 1, to stop himself from making Crash. You know what? I actually really like this idea of returning to Cortex's island, although it's a lot more Death Trap-like than the last time we were here, and this is Crash 1 we are talking about. This leads to some funny dialogue between the past and future Cortex.
You'll never find me, Neo-Cortex. This castle is a maze. I alone know all of its secret halls and passages. Like the one behind the portrait of Grandfather that opens when you press on his triangular fossa. But how?
With the past Cortex out of commission, our Cortex uses the 4 masks to try and stop Crash and Coco. This final boss is actually really good. It sort of reminds me of Crunch using the 4 elementals in Wrath of Cortex, but it's actually good here and leads to some creative gimmicks. Cortex fails again, and the masks decide to just banish him to the corner of the universe, which he doesn't seem to mind. We then get a funny little moment where Crash accidentally makes himself, or at least breaks the Cortex vortex, which leads to Crash 1. It's cute how it all comes together. Fingo rebuilds his diner, and Tawna just decides to stay in this universe, I guess. Imagine both Tawnas meeting each other. Overall, I like the story, I just wish more was done with Entropy. Despite seeming like he was the real villain, it kinda felt more of an afterthought. Could have been interesting to learn more about Tawna and the female Entropy. Heck, with the idea of alternate dimensions, I thought we'd see like an alternate Crash, or a Coco, or even Cortex. Heck, a reference to Wrath of Cortex, because it's clear that they are trying to forget the games after the original trilogy existed. I mean, they're not Sonic 06 bad, come on. Except maybe Titans. What? Who said that? Oh look, there's Crunch on the fridge there. Also Spyro. In case you didn't know, Toys for Bobs did the Reignited trilogy, because they did. Let's dive into the gameplay. Control wise, Crash and Coco feel great. You got your standard moves, the slide makes a return, but now they have a permanent double jump. This double jump did take some getting used to though. It's not like the original, and it's not like the Insane trilogy. It kinda stops you mid-air, then moves you forward, which really threw me off. But when you master it, it's really fun to use. Combo this with the slide, and you're getting some real distance. The new things they've added are rail grinding, rope swinging, and running along selected walls. I do like the added rail grinding, getting a big Ratchet and Clank vibe here. Even though I'm the Sonic guy and Sonic did it before them, but you can actually swing underneath as well. However, the response time and the transitioning between grinding and swinging is a little slow. It just needs to be a bit snappier, as the switching is longer than you think. Always a fan of when games add the ability to run along walls, though they integrated it very well on Crash 4. It's really fun to bounce between walls. Moving on to the Quantum Masks. Yeah, these aren't just plot devices, they have abilities for Crash and Coco. Lani Loli can shift between dimensions. Sometimes platforms and boxes are blue, which means you need to shift between dimensions to make them visible. This is a really cool concept. It leads to some very interesting and challenging platforming. Next is Akano, which in a way is this game's tornado spin from Crash Warped, only when you activate it, it's permanent, and you're still able to double jump, glide, and even break iron crates that usually you can only done by body slamming. I do prefer the original tornado spin though. Kapu Noir I think is my favourite. She slows down time for a bit, enabling you to traverse obstacles that are moving too fast or just stopping enemies to make them easier to deal with. My favourite thing about this though, you can step on Nitro by slowing down time. Now this is creative. Way better than sneaking on Nitro. Sorry Wrath of Cortex. Finally, Ika Ika, who switches gravity. enabling you to walk on ceilings and even run along walls upside down, which is kind of funny. Though be aware, when you switch twice in order to reset, you need to land on something. If you press it twice and don't, you are stuck and can lead to some easy deaths. There is a stage on Cortex's island where you need to use all of the masks, and my god, let's just say it's one hell of a challenge, but it's really creative and fun. We can't forget about the other characters. Tawna, Dingodile and Cortex are also playable. In terms of differences, Tawna functions like Crash and Coco, but she can't slide. Instead has a grappling hook that can lock onto boxes and certain targets in the distance. It definitely feels sort of like Nina Cortex in Twinsanity. I do wish the grapple had more of a free roam target though, there's not much that Tawna will aim to. Dingodile, who I think is my favourite at least compared with Crash and Coco. He now uses a vacuum instead of a flamethrower to suck up objects and enemies and then launches them. Hoovering up boxes is incredibly satisfying, and believe you me, there's a lot in these stages. He can't double jump, but by pressing and holding the jump button, he can hover for a short time using the vacuum. Cortex is my least favourite unfortunately, but he still has some interesting gameplay. Less mobile than the others, he uses his ray gun to transform objects into platforms. Solid, see-through, sometimes a bouncy platform. He also has a quick air dash you can perform with a bit of a flutter at the end to give you a chance to readjust your position. In terms of the levels themselves, there's some real good level design here. It's actually not your typical hallway Crash game. At points it is, but it actually branches out into more of a typical 3D platformer, having a lot more freedom to move around, which makes these levels pretty big. Reminds me a bit of what Twinsanity was doing. It's a mix of what I think is a great way to give Crash some new lease of life. I gotta shout out this level Offbeat. What a fun time this was. It's a Fiesta themed level, balloons referencing Crash and Spyro, skeletons all lively playing music. Fun level design with creative ways of platforming, brimming with colour and personality. Ooh, this level was a joy to play through. Good stuff. There's a great variety of worlds in Crash 4, so you never feel like levels are repeated. The boss fights, although not super tough, still provide a decent challenge, and there's definitely some cool ones. We haven't even talked about the flashback tapes. In each Crash and Coco level there is a flashback tape. Collect without dying beforehand and you've unlocked the flashback tape level. These are meant to be the test levels created by Cortex and Embryo back in Crash 1 for Crash and Coco. You get to hear the original music from Crash 1 and 2. Not free for some reason, they really like Crash 2 in this game. I mean, they brought back the board and Polar. So yeah, I think it's fair to say there's a bit of a major Crash 2 fanboy here. These flashback tape levels are very reminiscent of the Embryo Cortex stages from Crash 1. So yeah, they can be tough. I ended up really liking these though. They even have unique boxes for them. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that there is new crates in Crash 4. One that spews fire, basically a hey wait for a bit and then you can break it. We also have these timed boxes. Hit the red exclamation box and it will temporarily reveal boxes and will reset if you're too slow. Speaking of boxes, gems make a return, but there's a lot more here. We have the standard box gem. Why are we here? Just to suffer. You can get free gems by collecting enough Wumpa Fruit, giving them more use, especially since there's two ways to play Crash 4, Modern or Classic. Classic being with lives, and Modern lives are completely gone. A hidden gem to find, and they get pretty crafty with their placements, and a gem for not dying more than 3 times, so yeah, quite a lot. But if you've never been one for gem collecting, Crash 4 may give you some incentives. Gems unlock skins in this game. As you progress you need more and more gems to unlock more skins. There's lots of different and creative ones, some fun ones, and some strange ones. So I'm convinced someone at Toys for Bob's was on something with some of these names. Just a hunch, you know? Oh yeah, they know what they were doing. They know. I'm partial to the biker skin from Crash Warped. I was so happy to see this. And of course, gotta have a retro Crash and Coco skin, even if they do stand out a bit.
Alright, that's it. We're done with Crash 4, right? Right? Wrong.
Now I have the task of completing the rest of the game.
No problem.
This includes all the gems and the colored gems.
You know, pretty standard when it comes to Crash.
This time there's 6 types of gems to collect. You get 3 gems for collecting enough Wumpa Fruit in the level.
That shouldn't be too hard, I collect the boxes anyway.
Of course there's the box gem, and levels seem to have way more than any other Crash game. Then you have to beat the game in less than 3 lives.
Oh, well it's fine. I'm a Crash pro player.
And find the hidden gem in the level.
I gotta do this for every stage?
Yup, every stage. Let's not forget the color gems, which will most likely miss your first playthrough. Cleverly hidden away. The game does subtly show you what to do, but you may still not immediately notice it. Strangely, only 4 this time. Remember the flashback tapes I mentioned? Yeah, we need to complete all these as well, and they get really tough. If you want to challenge your platforming skills, this is the way to go. It is cool hearing the dialogue from Cortex and Embryo while rocking the classic tunes.
Whoa, that sounds kinda cool.
Right? You need to get all boxes as well, and there's 21 of them to complete.
Wait, on top of the gems?
Oh, it gets better. Relics make a return and you don't stop at gold. You have to get all platinum relics for it to count. But guess what? It gets even better! Remember the whole complete level in less than 3 deaths? That means nothing when going for 106%. There's another relic known as the perfect relic where you need to get all the gems and not die a single time. A perfect run of the stages 38 times. And there's even developer times, so thank god that's optional. Hold on, we're still not done. So you know how we have to perfect all 38 stages, right? What if you have to do it all over again?
Huh?
Oh, don't worry, you don't need to perfect them, but you more or less do, because you need to get all these gems again in these inverted stages. When you defeat Embryo for the first time, he creates these inverted versions of every stage. Mostly they are just visual changes, but the stages are flipped horizontally. What's left is now right, what right is now left. Oh, and the hidden gems are in different locations, so that's fun. Some of these levels can look kinda cool, some of them can be harsh on your eyes, and well, some can actually make the stage work. Whose bright idea was it to put this underwater? Actual water physics? Someone needs to get fired. So I hope you enjoyed doing the 38 stages, and not once but twice. Okay, it's time. Put your big boy pants on, sit your butt down, and beat this game.
I can do this. I can do this! I can't do this! My arm's broken, my leg's broken, and I think I peed my pants.
It's bad enough I got all this to complete. This game is hard. I'm talking harder than Crash 1 hard. Harder than Crunch's Pecs hard. Harder than Crash's Marsupials Erectors. Some of these box placements are cruel. And don't get me started on the hidden gems. Some require you to take a leap of faith, putting them in bottomless pits? How the hell was I supposed to know that was there? This happens time and time again. Why have I gotta collect so many damn boxes? These stages aren't short like the original. If you start the first stage and this is what you see, you're in for a rough time. Classic Crash. Missing one blooming box. Instead it was more like multiple boxes because toys were Bobs of diabolical with their hidden boxes. I have to confess, sometimes I had no choice but to look up these locations because finding them feels like dumb luck. I've even heard guides stating they found boxes by accident. Accident! I can't defend this placement. I'm sorry. There is so much that insta-kill you in this game. What? You've got invincibility with Aku Aku? What about Aku Aku? Speaking of Aku Aku, he feels almost non-existent in this game. I get they want to emphasize more on the other masks, but Aku Aku is a staple, and when you compare it to the original Crash games, I had to wonder if he went off on vacation or something. I was lucky to find 1 or 2, let alone get invincibility in this game. He also got nerfed, I swear. Twinsanity nerfed? Maybe not, but still nerfed. I'd still rather complete Twinsanity than this game. Listen right, this game wants you to master it, but how can I with questionable collision hitboxes and glitches? I'll say right now, Cortex is the worst character to play in this game. His jump is awful, his gun has no reticle to aim, and half the time the game decides just shooting an invisible wall. Polar. What have they done to you, buddy? Bears repeating. You've probably heard it all before, or suffered like me with this stage. If you managed to do a road to nowhere callback from Crash 1, you would then greeted by the end with a polo section. Now if this was Crash 2, these would be some of my favourite stages. But as much as this game references Crash 2, it ain't Crash 2. Polar does not control well, his movement is all over the place. But the worst part is this hitbox. How many goddamn times will you get screwed over when hitting a cluster of boxes? And when you have to consider that you need to perfect it going for 106%, and yet it's the part you struggle with the most, and the stage isn't exactly short, you have to go through everything over again just to get back to it to try again. Over and over and over, and guess what? After the Torna section of this level, you have to do the Polar section again with different box placements, because they didn't think to end the stage early and decided to make you play the second half of Crash and Coco stages for every single character, then you have to do both of them again inverted. They put a death flame where there's a box. What did I ever do to you, Bob? Why are the load screens so damn long? You are going to be restarting a lot in this game. I don't understand. Why does it take so long to reload, especially when you're so close to the beginning of the stage? Did I mention glitches? What's up, boys? We're having a nitro party here or something? Oh, well, I always wanted to know what was under Cortex's castle. Excuse me? I'm at a disadvantage. The odds are stacked against me, but I've come too far to quit now. Oh, bitch! 100%! I did it! You do get a reward for this, you get another ending. It's just some pictures, but it's actually really cool. And also a little bit questionable here as to what you see. How is Nina here? And Cortex?
I'm at 100%. Still got the relics to do though.
Outside of Crash Bash, this is the first mainstream game that asks for platinum relics instead of gold. These stages are much longer than Crash games before, so there's more to traverse, time boxes to hit, on top of a difficult game. Here's the real problem though, you don't get the running shoes in this game. After you beat the story for the first time, you are rewarded with a new power up, the triple spin. And no, it's not the tornado spin from Warped. You press the spin button 3 times to do 3 spins that give you a burst of speed. So you're constantly doing this, when going for the relic. I'm not going to have a thumb at the end of this. Not a fan, I would much prefer to dash like in Crash Bandicoot Warped. Too bad I'm stuck with this though, so I better get used to it. As for going for the relics, they are not that bad. You probably thought I was going to cry me another river, but not completely. Maybe just a puddle. It feels easier rushing through the stages than completing them normally, but it's still tough and I still had to restart. However, compared to the tapes and gems, I don't think it's as bad. It doesn't matter though at this point, I'm done with this game. I'm so bloody tired, it's draining. Please just let it be over. Come on baby, one more stage, yes!
It's over? Truly? I thought this day was never end. I'm just glad it's over. Look how long it took me. Several months. It's crazy to think how far I've come, but I finally did it. You know the crazy thing about all of this? It was all just a dream. No.